I have to tell you about the future!
I was 10 years old and saw Back to the Future. And where a lot of people said, oh my god, well, that Back to the Future car is so cool, I went further than that. Now, try being in Northern Ontario in 1985, pre-internet, and try to learn anything about anything. So it took a while to figure out it was a DeLorean. It was made by a guy named John DeLorean. They were built in Belfast, Northern Ireland, or Dunmurry. And it was a real car. It wasn't made for the film. And then got to learn the whole story about it. So I started buying up old magazines from the period, both leading up to and after the company fell. In college, bought brochures and pamphlets when I had the chance from different people, vendors that sold those things, and got to know about them. So it's something that had just never gone away. And I think the thing that I liked more so than the film about the cars, one, it's an orphan. And there's always been something with me about the underdog. Got to give the underdog a shot and see exactly what the story is. Usually if you peel away a layer or two, they're not what you think they are. So DeLoreans are slow. Well, they were contemporary for what they were. DeLoreans are heavy. No, I had Toyota Supras from the same era that weighed more. Thanks very much. Without too much of a performance upgrade or difference. And it was just the stuff like that, you know. It was fascinating to find out what this story was. So it just stayed with me through the years, and opportunities came and went. And I could have had one, but you know what? With a second kid on the way, a minivan made more sense. So what do you do? This one came along. The car was in Montana, and just doing stuff through the internet, I managed to find my way to it. Only after I got the car, after it was mine and I was going out to get it, did I find out that it sat at this place for 2 years. But it had been relatively well taken care of. I mean, driving from Montana here is over 2,000 miles. And all we did, my father came with me, just father-son trip. We put on windshield wipers that had actual rubber on them, and we put in a proper size battery. Other than that, we did not have any problems driving that car home. But what an experience. Hop in one of these things and start driving on the interstate. You see people that are just whizzing by you, and then suddenly they hit their brakes and they slow down, and then they're right beside you, and then they've got their camera phone and they're taking a picture, and then they take off again. Or you get the thumbs up, or the people that are kind of pointing when they're going in the other direction. And it's incredible. 30 years on now, and people that don't know cars know what a DeLorean is. Probably because of the movies, fine. To be completely fair, chances are, if it wasn't for those films, you would not be able to get almost any part you needed practically overnight. And that's something I can't even do with that minivan that I had to buy rather than a DeLorean 6 years ago. I'm becoming known as the guy that's in the DeLorean. Up until 3 weeks ago, I had the only one for about a 250-mile radius. There's rumors of one in Sudbury, which is an hour and a half west of us, but haven't seen one there in 20 years. I hear rumors of one up in Timmins, but that's far enough that, you know, it's beyond the 250-mile radius. But having the only one here, I still run into people that didn't know there was one out here. And I like to think I drive it relatively often. I have it out as much as I can, but I put it away in the winter. So there's a lot of the positive. I've had a couple negatives. That one drunk on a Friday night, or that guy in the Honda Accord that gave you the finger out the window driving by. I'm like, fine, sorry. Whatever. Maybe you've mistaken me for someone else. You know, another DeLorean that may have passed through here sometime years ago. But driving a DeLorean up here is really the same as driving a DeLorean anywhere. Some people don't pay any attention. Some people don't care. Some people are going to want to race you, and they'll win. And some people just think that it's way cool to see the Back to the Future car. Before I came here tonight, I was over at the gas station just buying a chocolate bar, and I come out, and there's people taking pictures of the car. So I just kind of stepped back, or I offered to open the door up for them. Why not? Drove through Barrie about a month ago, and there was a couple people crossing the street at a red light, and one moved over to take a picture. The other guy kind of stood in front, so I just opened the door for them. So he was able to take a picture like that. Again, why not? It's part of the fun. It's like being famous. If you're driving down the street in the DeLorean, it's like you're a famous person. Some people are going to approach you. Some people are going to just kind of respectfully nod and smile. Some people aren't going to care either way. But it's the kind of vehicle where if you just don't feel like talking to people that day, if you're in a hurry and you're in kind of a surly mood, you should probably leave it in the garage. Because you know people are going to come. You can't help it. It would be like George Clooney walking down Main Street. He should know he's going to get bombarded no matter where he goes by somebody. Now, if you take it to a car show, then it's almost like you're the entourage. You're just that person that hangs out with the famous person. They might push you out of the way to go see the car, and that's perfectly fine. So it didn't take too long when we started to hang out a bit as a group, and then just her and myself, that the DeLorean came along. It was cars, cars, cars always, but then specifically DeLorean. And sometimes we'd go and look at DeLoreans, or we'd see one somewhere, and I'd just be all happy about it. Hey, I saw a DeLorean, because they're harder to see up here if you don't know where they are than you may think. You have a much better chance seeing them in the United States than anywhere else, particularly around Florida, California. But she was always there. She was always supportive. When this one came along, she said, quite frankly, you'd be stupid to pass it up, because this is the time. We have a place to live, but the cars come and go. And it turned out that, thankfully for her, because this one was a really good one. All things considered, minimal troubles, minimal issues for a 30-year-old vehicle with unknown service history. Again, up until a few weeks ago, I was the only one up here. Within the Ontario DeLorean Owners Club, I always called myself Northern Division, because everyone else is further down south or way too far east or west. So Northern Division it was. So I do a lot of things up here. I try to do the weekly car shows, both here and in Sudbury, branch out to different little areas. If there's any sort of charity event that I think could use a little bit of visibility, I like to go to those. And I like to try to get down to a couple of the Ontario events. I did the Georgian College Auto Show this year in June because I'm alumni. I went to British Car Day because that's a big show. That's when the biggest number of DeLoreans show up. And in this case, that's where the other owner from North Bay was able to make it. He picked his car up the day before. So 24 hours into ownership, and you're surrounded with 15 other cars, and it just made it a hoot. But we all keep together, the Ontario group. There's email, there's Facebook, there's a portion on the DeLorean forum. There's a web page that has a bit of information, but it's not really used for communication so much. And if different events come up, then we try to post them and see who else would be interested in joining in. I've got to try to start getting them to meet me part way, because there's just, everything seems to be Toronto, Toronto, Toronto. They're missing some gorgeous scenery coming up this way. I mean, if they would even come to Aurelia, they would see more than they regularly see on a day-to-day basis, just to get into a little bit more of that northern experience. The further up they come, the better it is. I mean, the trees at this time of year, for an example, are just gorgeous. And the lakes and the rivers, there's always something to do in Northern Ontario.
Okay, so the Time Machine. Why did I build the Time Machine? It started off with a stock car. Everywhere I drive the stock car, you get the common questions. Isn't this car made in Canada? Isn't John Delorean still in jail? He was smuggling cocaine in these cars. All these crazy stories that you get. But no question comes up more often than, where's your flux capacitor? So I said, okay, shoot, you know what? I'm going to put this to bed, and I'm going to put a flux capacitor in my car. Maybe that'll stop these people from asking this question all the time. But little did I know, once I put the flux capacitor in there, that's kind of like the gateway drug of time machine conversions. So first the flux capacitor, then the time circuits, then the Mr. Fusion, and so on and so on and so on until this is what happens. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I loved every second of doing it, but it kind of takes over and becomes its own beast. So yes, it took a lot of time, but totally worth it. The adventures and fun that I have with this car, totally worth every second. Flux capacitor's on, status indicator array's on, and then time circuit's on. The way that I started the Ontario Delorean Owners Club is basically, I was fanatical about the car. I was in university, and instead of studying for my midterms, studying for my exams, I decided it would be a good idea to go on the internet and look up Deloreans. So the more and more I looked up Deloreans, I saw that there's all these local clubs: Ohio, Midwest, California, Florida. Nothing in Canada, nothing in Ontario. So I said, okay, maybe when I get my DeLorean, it might be a good idea to start up a local club to see how many people there are in Ontario with a DeLorean. And I started to see how many DeLoreans there were in Canada, let alone Ontario alone. So I said, shoot, man, if I make a Canada club, there's going to be hundreds of us. But the Ontario club, we're about 50 members strong today. And I just thought it was a great idea to kind of have, with such a quirky car, a bunch of local people that kind of share the same passion with you and can help you out when you're having trouble with the car. And it's nothing more fun than driving down the road with about 20 DeLoreans. It's an experience like no other in the world. The cool thing about having people in the club from all walks of life is you get the old, you get the young, you get the normal, you get the insane, you get everybody. And it's either the ingredients for a bomb or the ingredients for something really wonderful. And with ODOC, we got really, really lucky because, I mean, I think I'm the only crazy guy in the club. Everybody else is pretty normal. And we got people that are original owners of the car from back in 1981. They bought it at a dealership in Oakville, to brand new owners that just bought their car a few days ago, and everybody in between. Everybody shares the same passion. They love the car. They love the attention they get. They love working on the car. They love hanging out with other people who have the same car, but take the car away. And there's, you know, we got a cinematographer in our group. We got a computer engineer in our group. We've got, you name it, they're probably in our group. And we just jive. We get along so well in this club. It's the car that brings us together. We got 16 DeLoreans to show up at the British Car Show Day at Bronte Park this year in 2011. It's kind of fitting. We were trying to get 30 DeLoreans for the 30th anniversary of the DeLorean Motor Company, which is this year. But out of the just short of 50 members who own cars in Ontario, we were able to get 16, which isn't bad. Wish we would have got 30, but it was a club record. And it took a lot of work from a lot of club members, a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, and basically harassing. I think I'm surprised I still haven't checked my mail yet, but I might have some cease and desist or stalking warrants against me to leave some of these people alone. But I couldn't have done it without the members of all the people in the club, because without their help, maybe we would have had 2 or 3 DeLoreans there, which is how it's been every other year at this British car show. The British car show is basically just a show where Lotuses, MGs, and Rolls-Royces and all these fancy British cars show up. And when we showed up there back in 2009 and said, well, hey, we're DeLoreans, we're a British car, some of them said, yeah, okay, you are. Some of them said, no, you're not. Bugger off. It's like, okay, sure. They stick us in with the Lotus guys, and then we decided, this isn't for us. You know what? If we're going to get a lot of DeLorean guys showing up in one place, let's really wow these guys. Let's get our own category. Let's get a bunch of DeLoreans here, and let's show these guys why DeLoreans belong at the British Car Show. We're certainly not going to have an Irish car show day anytime soon. So it was 2009, and we showed up with, I believe the number was 12 or 13 DeLoreans showed up at that time. And the club organizer for the British Car Show was blown away, gave us our own category, and we were like the most fan favorite thing at the show that year. I don't even know if that's a real word. Fan favorite, crowd favorite. Everybody loved us, whatever you want to call it. This year now being 2011 with the 30th anniversary, we shot for the goal of 30. We got 16, so we smashed our previous record, and I think everybody had a great time at that British car show this year. I know I did. So I guess when the car show came to an end, and we kind of all have to part our ways and drive back, some of us to North Bay, some of us to London, Guelph, Burlington, and Toronto, and everywhere and in between, we kind of say our goodbye, shake our hands, close our gull-wing doors, and if we see each other on the roads, we give each other the DeLorean nod. But beginning of the driving season to end of the driving season, we try to do as many club meets as we can, from club barbecues to local car shows to big shows like the British Car Show. And then our big end of the year finale is our our Delorannual. And that's where we get together every year at the end of the driving season in October, meet near the beaches at Ashbridges Bay in Toronto, and just kind of park our cars. If people come and look at them, great, but it's just kind of a end of the year thing to wrap up, and all of us just kind of hang out, have a drink on the patio, enjoy the fall weather, look at our cars, give each other thumbs up, high fives, and then kiss our cars goodnight and tuck them into the garage for their sleep for the winter, and then look forward to the next driving season.
Well, for the future of this car, I'm 3 years in, and slowly but surely I've just been doing little things as projects. That's the fun of it. It seems that projects get sidestepped because I'll get ready to start something and then say, you know what, I think I want to go for a drive. So I'll take it out and go for a drive. And maybe the project will get done next week or over the winter. But the car's not going anywhere. At this point, you've got 2 kids. They both love it. And I'm thinking that part of my will is going to have to stipulate, winner take all for when it comes to the car. Or I have to get a second one. Then they can each have one and be happy. But this car's not going anywhere. It will be handed down when I'm either too old to drive it, incapable of driving it, or gone.